Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today I actually want to do a live stream because there's a lot of things to go over. Good morning everybody. The Eastern time is 11:24. And there's gonna be still other people still getting up. So I decided to do it in the morning just to kind of get it over with because I'm gonna have stuff to do later this afternoon. But there's a lot of stuff to cover. We got potentially maybe a significant severe weather event across Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. There's also going to be a major pattern change coming up. And if you guys do have any questions during this live stream, you could go and put it in the chat here. Right now, um, hey, I'm in the Cyclist here. I cannot pronounce that name, but yeah, I'm actually in it too. And my forecast shows something a little bit different here. But let's go ahead and get started with the live stream. Take a look into the SPC Outlook here. We're going to use Pitiful Weather because it shows counties here. Does it show cities? Well, you can kind of see cities, but not the names of it. So there's a slight risk for severe storms anywhere from east central Indiana, I'm in Illinois, central Indiana, central and southwestern Ohio, and central and northern Kentucky here. The main threats, all threats are on the table at this point. Damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. And even down here, they did say there could be some intense thunderstorms out there. And with the dynamics and stuff in place, this could support some uh, Boeing segments and supercells out there. As you can see, like I said, intense storms out there. We probably will see this upgrade to an enhanced risk here. And my forecast definitely shows an enhanced risk. I talked about this on Twitter yesterday that there was a potential for MCS. Doesn't it seems like the MCS threat looks to be there. At least the European model still shows it, but we're gonna be focused on the NAM for now. Since it's a little bit of a high risk model, it's a little bit more accurate. So let's go ahead and move on to that. But first, let's take a look into my forecast here. And as you can see here, I do have an enhanced risk for severe storms. This does include places like Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Louisville, Terre Haute, Columbus, Indiana, and um, and at this point here, these areas might get expanded because this could be an MCS type storms, and models do not do good with MCSs. And as you can see here over here, on day 3, which is Tuesday, I got David Woods at 30%, got Large Hail 30%, SIG. I believe 850 millibar temperatures are going to be very cold. We're talking about negative 18 degrees Celsius, like they said in the thing down here from the SPC. It's actually 500 millibar temperatures, my bad. Negative 16 degrees to negative 17 degrees Celsius, which is very cold, and that will favor for some pretty intense thunderstorms and very large hail, which that's why I have a SIG and a 30% chance. Tornadoes are on a 5% chance, but we'll see if an upgrade be needed for tornadoes, and the name does indicate there might be some significant tornadoes out there, but it could be a little overdone out there. You guys might be asking, why is the margin of risk so large? It's because we do not know how big these storms are going to get. And it seems like this might be an MCS type of storms, where these storms will travel for a lot of miles, but it seems like they may hit a cap as they reach into the mountains here. So we're going to see about that. But this enhanced risk looks to be the better chance for some severe storms at this point. And slight risk can be a better risk than a marginal risk. So we'll have to keep an eye for these storms here because some of these storms can be intense here. And let's go ahead and move on to the NAM model here. So this is kind of your future radar here. So this is Wednesday morning. Actually, this is Tuesday night. And here's your storms developing here. So this is 6Z, so I believe this is about 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. The timing's been changing kind of back and forth here. Seems like it may last until Wednesday morning here. But as you can see here, your cluster thunderstorms here that could be capable of all hazards in here. Again, I think that's a little too slow. Models before had been a little too slow on some of these events, so I think this would be more around uh, midnight to 2 a.m. for like Kentucky. I think Southern Indiana might be a little bit earlier. I think it just depends when the cap breaks here. I think there's a capping in place during the day. So this is 0Z, so this is 9 o'clock in Eastern time and 8 o'clock in Central time. And you can see here that cap starts to break, and I think it's a little too slow in my opinion. So we're going to see about this, and as you can see here, these storms here are capable to have some large hail. Where I have that enhanced risk in here has a better chance for some large hail and damaging winds. Now let's take a look into some other ingredients. Let's actually take a look where they've been talking about the 500 millibar temperature, height, and wind during that time in Celsius here. And this is what's going to be favorable for some large hail. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, I'll be answering your questions at the end of the video, or live stream, I should say. So let's kind of move on here. Now, I'm not 100% sure what the temperatures are for a large hail, to be honest. And as you can see here, so this is Wednesday night here. And yes, very cold temperatures here. Look at that, negative 17, negative 18 degrees Celsius. There's even better, negative 19 or 20 degrees Celsius, which is pretty favorable for some very large hail. That's why I have that 30% chance of large hail. And let's move on to something else. Let's take a look into some lap rates here. This is also favorable for severe thunderstorms here. So, waiting for this here to load. Just ignore all these tabs up here. That is for something else. So, seems like there'll be a cluster of thunderstorms. Oh wait, these are the storms. Never mind. But anyways here, look at these steep lap rates though out ahead of these storms here where they're blowing up. 8.4 degrees Celsius, that's very steep. And it's still very steep as it kind of reaches to the capping. And we'll get a forecast sounding right in there to see what it shows for us here. See, these could be some very tall thunderstorms here. And there's still a lot of cape in the area, so these storms got a lot of instability to work with and everything. Let's take a look to mixed layer cape here. Typically, you'll need over 500 to 1,000 cape, and you'll be pretty good for severe weather potential. And as you can see here, those numbers are actually pretty high. We're talking about over 2,000, 2,500. Yeah, that's kind of high. Let me tell you that. That's pretty high, and then those storms starts to use all that. And as you can see how those storms explode right here. So, and as you can see here, got 2,359, and this is in the nighttime hours. So, pretty impressive K values. This is something you'll see more in the summertime. So, and let's move on to the Energy Helicity Index here. This kind of gives us an idea for the tornado threat here. Let me see if the comments are pop. Well, get the live stream on my phone here to see. All right. Yes, you guys do have questions. Probably at the end of the severe weather session, I'll answer them. Look at these high values though. You're talking about 3. Usually above a 1, then that's your chance for some severe storms here. So there's a 3.1 there, which is kind of high. It is. And there you go. You got a PDS tornado icon popping up from the NAM here. Now, keep in mind, I think this could be a little overdone. You know, this could be a little overdone. Like Andrew's weather prediction said, will there be a 10% significant area? I think it's possible. It is possible, as you can see here. This is a forecast sounding kind of along the Ohio River between Louisville and Cincinnati. Um, the PDS tornado icon, which is about right here. So Louisville's over here, Cincinnati's up here, and it's kind of right in between. That's over Interstate 71 there. Let's take a look to some other things. Let's take a look into the Super Silk composite. Look up to the live stream, G Goes Pros. I'm in that yellow right at the bottom left of Indiana. Man, I cannot speak this morning. Dang. Yep, I'm in the Cycris 2 for an SPC. So this is your Supercell composite. As you can see here, there's some pretty high values over here. And as you can see here, that quickly dies down as we start to get to the morning hours. And again, like I said, I think these storms are a little bit too slow. Wow. They got a lot of energy to work with. The wider this is, the more energy they can use, you know. I mean, that's a pretty intense atmosphere. It's loaded and ready to go. So any storm that blows up there, it could be it could probably get severe very quickly or strong. These are the This is a type of setup for those type of storms where they're going to blow up fairly quickly. I mean, this atmosphere is a ticking bomb. It literally is like that. It seriously is. I mean, the atmosphere is perfect for some very tall thunderstorms that you could probably see for miles, and that's gonna be a good vantage point for me because I'm over here, and these storms could be blowing up over here. So I'm thinking about getting a drone here for getting some storm footage up in the air. So I think that'd be kind of cool. And this is your significant tornado parameters. Again, showing a little bit higher amounts. There's a 3.3 over here across southern Indiana. So there might be a chance for a 10% SIG area, but these storms here might be a little bit linear, which that means that these storms here are a bit more of a squall line that will produce damaging winds and some large hail, and the tornado threat will dramatically decrease. So you might have supercells that might develop, but then they'll start to become a squall line and start moving very quickly to the southeast. So I'll say there's a chance there for a 2% hatched area. Haven't really decided on that yet. We'll see what the SPC thinks. I think we'll likely see an enhanced risk tomorrow from the SPC. They update two times tomorrow. Today, since it's day 3, they do not update today. Unless if there's a very rare update again, like that severe weather event across Indiana and Arkansas where they had that midday day 3 update. We'll see about that. And this is not going to be a severe weather outbreak, but this could be a significant severe weather event for a lot of us. So this is the surface base lift index here. This is one of those, it's basically a composite, at least I believe so, a composite. And if I'm correct, this gets to show where we have, well, man, I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah, the lift index is pretty high. -10, -10 out here, and these storms could be developing here. Really, a -3 is good for severe storms, and you're tripling that. It's pretty significant. As you can see there, your storms start to blow up out here. So yeah, we're going to see what happens here on the severe weather side of things. There's another topic I want to go through, and that's the major pattern change coming up. So For a couple of your guys' questions, like this one here, oh, for tornadoes in Illinois, I kind of doubt it for a 10% hatched area for Illinois. Probably later down the road, perhaps. I think the better chance for a 10% hatch area would probably be more focused in Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky than Illinois at this time. Now, things could change here. So, this is the 12Z I'm looking at right here from the NAM. So, this is the latest run here. We can take a look at a couple other models like the Euro and the GFS. Haven't I've looked into the Euro a little bit. Still shows the squall line that will develop way up here in the Jex to the southeast there. Still looking like an MCS type of event from the European model, but the NAM says here, I think this will just be more a cluster of thunderstorms that will probably last very shortly. So it's going to be kind of difficult to forecast here. If this is going to be MCS, this is going to be kind of concerning because the atmosphere is loaded, and these storms will be ejecting, and these here probably will have some significant damage and winds. If I had to say, because this atmosphere is pretty loaded, and we're gonna see about that, and it's about that time for MCS season. You know, the reason why we're saying this could be MCS because this is on a northwest flow. And so yeah, if you guys get any more questions, you could put it in the chat. We're gonna go ahead and move on to something a little bit different. And then I forgot to tell you guys something here. On my April 2020 severe weather forecast, I did a little bit more thoughts, and I changed up the forecast a little bit. Well, actually a lot. I actually changed up the forecast here. Since the quarter, well, in mid-April, we're not going to see much of any severe weather because cold air will be taking over much of the country, so there's not really a good setup for severe weather in mid-April. Literally, the best chance for severe weather right now looks to be like I just showed you, which is Tuesday. And here's an updated severe weather outlook here for April here. As you can see here, I moved the above average area a lot more south than I had it. Like I had before with some of these areas in here, but since the cold air looks to be taking a lot more control than I thought, we're going to push it a little bit further to the south, more into the Dixie Alley here, but it still includes portions of Kentucky because there could be those last moments there up there with that low pressure system when it starts to eject. You probably will have some ingredients in place for the potential for severe weather up here. As you can see here, it goes from Kentucky, then through Tennessee, portions of Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, then through Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, back into Arkansas and Louisiana. So where I indicate the best chance for some severe weather in slightly above average region has shifted further to the south as well, and even more into Texas. There does include like San Antonio, Austin, Fort Worth, Dallas, and Houston. And it did move further south into the Florida Panhandle and pretty much to the Gulf Coast. So, and like I said on the last video, um, it will move around and change. And guess what? It did. So I had a little disclaimer, and I'm glad I put that disclaimer on that video there because there's probably some people out there gonna try to call me out for changing the forecast like this, and I warned them. You know, it's like, hey, that this forecast will change, and look here, it did. So that's my updated severe weather outlook for April 2020. So that is pretty much the severe weather out of the way. I think we'll keep that there for towards the end of the video, but let's go ahead and move on to the winter side of things here. Yeah, we're moving back into a winter pattern here. So let's take a look into the precipitation from the GFS here, and as like I said, the severe weather event potential over here, and like I said, the models does not really do well for MCS type of storms. Actually, you can see here GFS. It does show a lot of rain over here, but I kind of doubt it though. But as you can see here, at the same time, there is a low pressure system nearby, and it's actually a little bit of a deep low. Here comes your first cold front right here. across the Great Lakes into the Northeast, and that's bringing in a lot of cold air. That's actually very cold air. This is going to bring in some some freeze warnings, frost advisories, freeze warnings out there. And at 540 line is the average temperature for freezing. And look here, you got snow again for Virginia, even for the mountains of North Carolina, which I've learned that North Carolina had mountain snow not too long ago. And even for Kentucky as well, they had snow up there, and it was actually accumulating. And there goes another frontier. Here comes another low pressure system. And it seems like the models haven't really been changing a lot for the spring here. What it used to be before, like right around this time, there used to be like very cold temperatures, and now it's still warm. These are the types of systems we got to keep an eye on here. These are severe weather type setup storms here. That's what we need to keep an eye on. So we're heading later to April, but this is also the GFS where it starts to get ridiculous. So yeah, and the GFS is not that accurate that far out. So let's take a look into the thermodynamics here. We'll take a look into the 2 meter temperature anomalies here. So this is colder than this is basically below average and above average temperature anomalies. Let's move this all the way back to our 0. Wait for this to load, and there's even a chance for snow as far south as Kentucky, the Appalachian Mountains, which is really ridiculous. And this was indicated by both GFS and the European models. And this is going to take a while to load because I have all these tabs, but all these tabs here are actually pretty important. So, and as you can see here, pretty far out, you still got cold temperatures out there around hour 312, 318, which is April 18th, which is pretty far out. Yeah, I don't think this is going to load here. Let's refresh it here. We're probably going to talk about this a little bit briefly. I actually do not know how long we've been live streaming. And it seems like the live stream is slow on my phone. Looks like we got it. As you can see here, as we're going back here in time, seems like some of this cold air, yeah, seems like it's a lot of this cold air here sticking around for a good chunk of April here. You start to have a little bit of a mix around April the 13th, and then another cold front comes in, and cold air really takes control about the central and eastern United States here, and it's still warm down in Florida. Then another cold air blast comes in, and here comes another